Leaferinos. A bit late on the Leaf report from last night, but what a wild game. I didn't see most of it because James had a performance that I was at, and just kind of got home to see the third period, which was the best part of the game to see, and then watched the rest on highlights after, and kind of kept up to date during on my phone. The Leafs, I mentioned this the last time about the Leafs needing just to get better starts, and it will improve their overall game. And once again, the Blackhawks come to town, and the Leafs have a poor start. And by the time the first period's over, they're down 4-0, and halfway through the second, they're down 5-0. Freddie got pulled after the first 4 goals. Sparks came in and kind of settled things down a little bit, I guess. But it was just, I mean, it looked, for all intents and purposes, like they were out of the game early on. They battled in the second period. They started to turn things around after the 5th goal, and Johnson got them on the board near the end of the second to make it 5-1. Still didn't look like anything was going to happen. I mean, Blackhawks, like I mentioned in my last video, they're a good team. Even though they're not making the playoffs this year and they're having a down year, they're still a really good team. I mean, Kane's got 90-something points or something like that. Like, it's crazy how good they are. But the Leafs, as we know, score goals in bunches and have a ton of offense. And the third period ended up being one of the wildest periods of the year. They just threw everything but the kitchen sink at the Blackhawks. And Crawford left, I think, at the beginning of the third period or the end of the second or something like that. He left the Chicago net because of illness, and that Delia guy had to come in. And it was the weirdest situation for him to come into because the Leafs had played like shit for most of the game. And then in the third period, they ended up firing 30 shots on the Chicago net, and they ended up scoring 3 more goals to make it 5-4. And the 4th goal came from Tavares with about a minute and a half left in the game, and they'd already had the goalie out of the net for a minute and a half. So they were just it was like a shooting gallery. They just fell a bit short. They had a couple of really good chances right near the end of the period with the goal still empty, but they just couldn't find that equalizing goal, and they ended up falling 5-4. So like I said, it was a wild third period, 30 shots, and they had the crowd buzzing, but they just fell that little bit short. And again, it was because of that start. Even if they'd let a couple goals in, but not 4 or 5, and they'd be able to come back from that. But they really need to lock that down. That's the key thing going forward. More than their D, more than their goaltending, more than their offense, of course. It's getting there and showing up, and getting out of that first period without any damage, because it's happened to them so many times this year, and it's cost them. So, but nice to see them come back and put some goals in the net at the end of the game. Interesting to see Freddie's last couple games, him getting pulled 2 games in a row. I don't know when the last time that happened is, but that's not encouraging. So hopefully he can work through that, and they can get him in on Philly tomorrow night, and get him back in the groove. Interesting game, exciting game. Too bad they couldn't win it and pull it monumental comeback, but that's the way it goes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night in Philadelphia, and hopefully I'll have better news. Have a good one.